Hey, how y'all doing today? I'm just about to dive right in. I'm just going to talk about sabotage, lying, slandering. We have so many people fall in love with people like this. So many people like to date people like this. So many people have been manipulated, tricked, bamboozled into relationships, long-term relationships, engagements, marriages, situationships, entanglements. Because of this, I even had somebody wanted me to be in a situationship with them or an entanglement with them. Basically, an entanglement with them. They wanted me to be with them while they were still trying to date outside the relationship and mess around and sleep around. I was like, no, that's not going to happen. Okay. I'm way past that stage in my life with all that sleeping around, trying to fornicate and find a person and shacking up, living together, living in sin. I'm completely done with that. That's over. That is my old days. I'm not doing that anymore. I say I'm a changed man now, godly man, spiritual. Try to live by the word, try to draw souls to Christ, draw souls to God, and help people get over whatever it is that they're getting over with, because only how I learned, I had to go through it, to get through it. So if my testimony, my inspiration, inspiring people to change and draw souls to Christ, this is what I wanted to do. This is what I choose to do, because we all have a choice to live right or wrong, right? So if you want to live by truth, this is how you do it. You have to look for the red flags, the disrespect, the always finger pointing, the narcissists, the controlling people. These are the people we have to stay away from, because in the end, they will sabotage the relationship just to get out of it, to go mess around with somebody else and then come back and say, oops, my bad. Really? So you're going to break someone's heart? No, not caring about how it's going to make them feel, right? Don't care, slander, talk all crazy in their feelings, manipulating. They do so many different things and they don't care. You have some people even like the gang stalk, basically gang up on you and stalk you and harass you to try to win you back or get you back. And then if it doesn't work, they get an attitude and they get mad. I always tell people, always look for the red flags, because they're you will see them if you look for them. You will see maybe some people, they have a bad attitude problem. They're very disrespectful. Some people may call that masculine in a man, or she's just throwing a temper tantrum. That's how they are. No, that's a demon. Get away from them fast as possible, because we love to try to make excuses for people like this. And that's why we end up in these toxic, bad marriages or engagements or long-term relationships that we can't really even get out of, because we have created a soul tie with a person that we shouldn't even be with in the first place. And these people are manipulators. They will sabotage the relationship. They will pick other people's story if somebody bring them a lie. Like if somebody lie on you and say, oh, well, they did this, they did that, they will trust them and believe them, their side of the story. And you're like, wait a minute, this person don't even rock with me like that. They don't even like me like that. And you're going to believe them over me? That's crazy. I mean, that's just crazy talk. And then whenever we decide to give some pushback and we decide to try to defend ourselves, now we're in the wrong. We're the bad guy. We're the person that they're blaming. We're the person that they're pointing the finger at and trying to make us look crazy. No, we're not crazy. Especially if you're a true disciple of God, a man, a true disciple of God, a loving person, a godly person, and you were chosen to do a mission, and this is your calling. You're not crazy. You're not crazy, because we can relate on so many different things. Because when I see other chosen ones talk online, I can relate to them and I understand what they're saying. That's how I know they're full of the Holy Spirit. They're anointed. So a lot of people are in their own feelings because of old things that happened in the past. And some people will even try to bring it to the future. They will be like, oh, well, I'm going to compare this person to an ex. We have so many people will get into a relationship with you, even if they broke it off with somebody, They're still in a situationship with them. They really didn't leave them alone all the way 100%, maybe like 20%, 50%, but they still hook up here and there, sleep with them here and there, every blue moon. Some people, they like that, that freedom or that door crack that they can go back to. And if you end up married to a person like this or engaged to a person like this can be very devastating, because for marriage people, there's no other way out. When you marry somebody, you cannot get a divorce and go marry somebody else, because you will be living in sin. You will be living in adultery. The word says in the Bible, it says, if a woman leave her husband, let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband. So that's off limits if she have been married and divorced and tries to move on, or even the man, let the man return back to be reconciled to his wife as well. He can't go get a second rib. I'm sorry. And I know that's hard for some people to understand and accept. Only true, holy, righteous Christians will understand this. And they will go to the Bible. They will get better understanding. They will pray about it. They will get a better understanding on what they should do with their life, which is, if you've been in a position like this, if a person sabotages a relationship, calls you to leave them, break up, split up, separate, if they abandon you, you have to be neutral. You can't go around messing with anybody else, sleeping with anybody else. You just have to get hobbies. You know what I'm saying? And you have to set goals and dreams to keep your mind off of dating someone else, because you already belong to somebody else through God. God put you together, right? And to death do you apart. So the only way you can move on, unless someone passes away first. And a lot of people can't accept that. If you get a divorce and remarriage, and you get a divorce and you try to go remarry somebody else, that would be a sin. Yeah, so this was just a message just to let everybody know to be mindful and to choose right, to make sure you do a background check on the person that you are choosing, because some people can be violent, they're disrespectful, they'll cuss you out, they will still deceive you. Some people will hurt you physically, or mentally, verbally, just like these are signs that we just should look out for, because I've been through it and I know some people out there have been through it as well. And I just love to, give tips and spread the message and inspire people, to uplift their spirits and things like that of that nature, because I knew it was going to take a true disciple of God, a true chosen one, because we have a lot of people out here throwing that word around like they are true chosen ones, but they don't really lead the people and guide the people in the right direction. And what you have to do, you have to pray these things off. You have to pray to God to bless you for the right person. And a lot of people, you got to remember, faith without works is dead. So you have to put in the work. You have to put yourself around the things that you want as well. You cannot just sit here and think some things is just going to fall in your lap. Now, some people may, it may happen for them, but others, it may not. So you have to always be ready to put in the work and work hard for whatever it is you want, so that the person that you meet will see that in you. They will see that work ethic. They will see that love, that inspiration, that inspiring that you come with. Nobody wants to be with a nasty, dirty, vindictive person if they're a godly person. I'm not talking about worldly people. Now, if you are godly and then you ended up with a worldly person and you marry them, God will still honor that marriage, but you know what that's probably going to come with, because you're trying to change them and groom them and mold them into a Christian and live a Christian lifestyle can be difficult, because they don't have your same beliefs. They don't see your same view. They don't have your vision, your purpose in life. So you really have to be mindful of these things. And a lot of people don't really talk about these things because it's either touchy or it rubs them the wrong way. They feel some type of way. They feel like the world is against them, or they're calling them out, or they get offended real easy. But we, as real disciples, real true chosen ones, we have to have these talks. We have to, because we have to lead people in the right direction. And a lot of people, they just don't want to get it. They don't want to listen. They're stiff-necked, they're stubborn, stuck in their ways. And if you end up with people like this, I've been taught to always look for the red flags. Be honest, whatever it is that you've been through with your person, so there's no surprises. And we know that's hard to do, because you don't want nobody to look at you in a certain way. When people get comfortable with you, they will tell you things, So you definitely want to make sure the person is comfortable with you. Y'all can talk about anything under the sun. I always say, if I'm with somebody, we keep it real, we keep it 100. I don't care if you feel like it's going to hurt my feelings or not, because that's how we heal. That's how we heal here. We don't keep secrets. Just like I'm talking to you now as a regular person, this is how I am on the mic, on camera, as a real person. I'm always going to be a real 100% genuine person, because that's the way I always been. I don't know how to be no other way. And some people, they just can't do it because they're afraid of the truth. See, me, I go towards the truth so that I can help others. I can inspire others. I can help other people heal, because we really don't have a lot of that anymore. Like, a lot of people think they're so real, and then when you give it to them real, they can't take it. They can't. So be mindful. People do sabotage relationships. They want to have sneaky links. They want to hook up with people. They don't want nothing really real. They will play with your feelings and emotions. They will step on your heart. We all probably been through something like that throughout our life. If you're old enough, you kind of understand that part of it, that portion of it. And one thing you have to always do is be true to yourself. Because if you love yourself, you put God first and you love yourself, you're not going to let nobody treat you any kind of way. And I think that's the point where I'm at. Because I know a lot of people that I knew growing up with, even some girls I dated in the past, they thought they can sabotage our relationship, have some little cheating moments, sneaky links, entanglements with friends or whatever behind my back, and cheat around and do all this stuff, and thought I was just going to let them back in my life because I loved them. And it's not saying that I didn't forgive them, because you always have to forgive as well. Even if they do sabotage you and do the most nastiest, dirty, vindictive things, you have to forgive them. Now, that's not saying that you have to let them back in your life. You can't separate. If you're married, you can't separate, if it becomes violent, too verbal, you just can't take it, and you had it up to the ceiling with the person. You just can't take it. Some situations, we get it. You just can't be together. It's too bad. If it gets to that point, you have to leave, because it's just too bad. You can't work it out unless you get counseling and help, and that's a whole nother video. And we have to see these signs first. A person gets comfortable with you, or a person feels like they will take your kindness for weakness. This is when the sabotaging come. This is when the backstabbing come. This is when the talking behind your back to other people about you. Then when they see you in person, the other person is looking at you funny or acting a certain way. That's because people been talking behind your back together about you, and then now they became close, and now they gang stalking and ganging up on you and turning against you. And you're like, what is going on here? It's because, some people are like that. That's just in them. They're demonic, and if you're a true spiritual person, Christian, holiness, righteousness, we have to warn others, if you have a good heart, to watch out for the disrespect. Don't tolerate it, because listen, how you start it is how you're going to finish it. So if it starts toxic drama, 9 out of 10 it's going to end like that as well. So if you see it, you can't change people. Like, I even heard Pastor PJ say that, Gino. He was like, you can't change people when you get married to them, right? A lot of people feel like, oh, I'll just go ahead and go through with the engagement and get married to them, and we'll worry about getting counseling and change later. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. For majority of the time, you can look at the divorce rate, it doesn't all the time work like that. So you don't even want to take that chance, no matter how good they look, no matter about looks, money, status, whatever. You put them on a high pedestal, whatever the case may be. You don't even want to take that chance, because if this person has been acting like that, you don't know what they would do later on in life to you. It can get violent. You can be around a cookout, a family event, a party, out in public with this person. They're showing out, they're acting out, they're cussing out, embarrassing you in front of people. Do you really want to live your life like that? Please tell me. If you do, hey, by all means, some people like toxicity. Some people thrive off of drama, off of total chaos. Some people love it. But if you're not that person, if you're a godly, humble person, loving person, good, kind-hearted person, do not, I repeat, I learned my lesson the hard way. I thought I can change somebody too. No matter how spiritual. I tried to talk to them, godly, righteous, holy. They still went back to the world. They still are worldly, wanted to go back to the streets, fornicate, party, drink, club, whatever. I couldn't do anything with them. So that's why I like to warn people, hey, if you know you with somebody like this and you know you've been dealing with them a long time to know them. Some people have been dealing with some people since they was in school, and they're probably like in their 40s, late 30s or 40s, and you still expecting that person to change. I don't know. I'm not saying they can't. God can bless them to change, but they still have to have an open heart to do it. You still have to be willing to, because we have free will. So that's why I said you can't force somebody to change. They have to want to change. That's why some people end up in jail, because they're too out of control, or even worse, with a tombstone. So you get where I'm going. Some cases can get really ugly, and you've seen the signs. You've seen how crazy and demonic and toxic this person was, sabotaging. So I just wanted to touch on that. That just came across my mind. I seen, other godly person, a Christian person. It just I really want to touch on that and tell my piece, because my experiences that I went through with sabotaging and backstabbing and people talking behind my back, messing up my relationships in the past. So I just wanted to share that story. So till next time, y'all, God bless y'all. I love y'all. See you later.